All right, we are in fact putting out these live pictures of Prime Minister Narendra Modi at this point in time in Colombo in Sri Lanka. Let's take a look. In fact, we are staying with these pictures from the Prime Minister in Colombo in Sri Lanka. He is there to shore up defense and energy ties. Right now, the Prime Minister saluting the Indian Jawans at the IPKF Memorial in a solemn ceremony in Colombo in Sri Lanka. Remember, the Prime Minister is the first dignitary to visit the island nation since the leftist government swept elections, forming the government just last year. Prime Minister Modi is there to expand defense and energy ties as Colombo balances relations with its powerful neighbor and biggest lender, that is China. The Sri Lankan president has rolled out the red carpet for the Prime Minister, welcoming him with the 19-gun salute in the capital's Independence Square. Right now, these are the pictures of the Prime Minister live on your screens, saluting Indian Jawans, paying them respects at the IPKF Memorial in a solemn ceremony. The fallen war heroes of the Indian peacekeeping force who fought against LTTE terrorists during the 1987-1990, that 3-year period in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister is in Sri Lanka signing MOUs, and 7 of them have been signed already. But pictures on your screen right now are of the Indian Jawans Memorial. At the Indian Jawans Memorial, the Prime Minister saluting them in a solemn ceremony there. Remember, Prime Minister Modi is the first foreign dignitary to visit the island since the leftist Disanyake swept elections last year. Today, the Prime Minister of India was also conferred with the highest civilian honor in Sri Lanka. Amid honors, the Prime Minister presented by troops of the Sri Lankan Artillery Regiment and Sri Lanka Corps of Military Police. The Prime Minister walking to the memorial and placing a floral wreath that you see in these pictures in a solemn moment there of memory of Indian soldiers who laid their lives for eradication of terrorism in Sri Lanka in the late 80s. Going straight across to Nagarjun Dwarkanath for more on that big story that we are tracking. The Prime Minister here saluting the Indian Jawans at the IPKF Memorial in a solemn moment, in a solemn ceremony there, Nagarjun.
That's true. In fact, this is the second time that the Prime Minister Modi is visiting the IPKF Memorial in Colombo. First time he did visit in his first visit to Sri Lanka in 2015, and this is the second time, almost a decade later, in 2025, he's visiting this peacekeeping, Indian Peacekeeping Force Memorial. This is in Sri Lanka, Colombo. This memorial was built in 2008, Sneha, in the memory of all the Jawans who lost their lives in 1987 to 1990. Indian peacekeeping force was sent on a mission to curb militancy, to help the government end the civil war, but it didn't go well. We lost around 1,200 soldiers. Since then, Indian armed forces have not done many exercises with Sri Lanka after this, what has happened in Sri Lanka from 87 to 90. But this time around, when the Prime Minister visited Sri Lanka, both Dissanayake and Prime Minister Modi signed an MOU on defense pact as well. So it's a historic step. On the same day that he's also visiting the monument or the memorial in Colombo, and on the same day they have also signed a defense pact of joint training programs joint strategies also in terms of defense. So it sends also a huge message between India and Sri Lanka as to from where to where we have reached in the last 35 years, from sending forces and having a bad memory to freshly signing pacts and coming back to joint exercises. It's a fresh step and a historic step today.
All right, I'm going to thank you, Nagarjun Dwarkanath, getting us up to speed with those details as far as the visit of the Prime Minister to Sri Lanka there is concerned. Pictures are coming in from Colombo at this point in time with the Prime Minister laying a wreath there, walking to the memorial, placing a floral wreath in a solemn moment of memory of Indian soldiers who had laid their lives for eradication of terrorism in Sri Lanka in the late 1980s. Pictures are from the IPKF Memorial at this point in time. More pictures, in fact, coming in. We'll be going across to our reporters for more on that. But remember, the Prime Minister is on a visit to Sri Lanka and he's already been conferred with the highest civilian honor of the country. He is the first foreign dignitary to visit the island since the leftist Disan Nayake swept elections last year. The Prime Minister has been conferred with the Mithra Vibhushan, Sri Lanka's highest civilian honor. The two nations have also signed a 5-year defense cooperation agreement for the training of Sri Lankan military personnel in India, as well as information and technology sharing. It's a significant development with the Prime Minister being conferred with the highest civilian honor in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Sri Lanka for 2 days, and the aim is to shore up defense and energy ties as Colombo makes an effort to balance relations between India and Sri Lanka. I'm going straight across now to my colleague Geeta Mohan, who is in Colombo as we speak. Geeta, as we speak, the Prime Minister saluting Indian Jawans at the IPKF Memorial in a solemn ceremony there, Geeta.
Well, that's right, Sneha. This is not the first time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is at the IPKF Memorial. He was there during his 2015 visit as well. And now we're seeing Prime Minister Narendra Modi yet again in Colombo doing what is a very important aspect of how India honors its fallen soldiers. There could be a lot of conversation, criticism as well when it comes to IPKF and IPKF's role, that's the Indian peacekeeping forces being sent to Sri Lanka. Was that a decision that was wise for India to have done during the LTT secessionist movement over here? And Rajiv Gandhi has been questioned in the past as well, but the late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. But the fact is that India lost many soldiers here fighting for a cause to have a stable Sri Lanka. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, yet again, in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, at the IPKF Memorial, paying his respects and homage to the fallen soldiers. This was part of the itinerary of the Prime Minister. He's done all the things that he needed to do in terms of engagements, whether it's engaging with the leadership here in Colombo, or for that matter, after which he also met with the Tamil leaders. He met with some cricketers as well. We will be getting visuals of that in some time from now. But right now, he's very specifically focused on the contribution, reminding Sri Lanka and the world of the contribution India has, the stakes India has in the peace and stability of Sri Lanka. So at the IPKF Memorial, paying his respects to the fallen soldiers here in Colombo, after which he'll be going for the official dinner, the banquet that will be hosted by the President. And then we will look at, again, yet another aspect that is very important, apart from the fact that there has been a lot of agreements that were signed. One specific one that you can talk about at a time when he's also honoring soldiers of India who lost their lives or laid their lives for peace and stability in Sri Lanka is the defense agreement, the MOU that was signed on the defense front, knowing very well that prosperity and stability in the region, having shared mutual interests in securing the Indian Ocean waters is very important, and not having elements either way, whether if it's in India or in Sri Lanka, that are inimical to Indian interests or Sri Lankan interests is very important. So at a time when both countries are looking at military defense cooperation between the two sides, Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Indian Peacekeeping Forces Memorial, the IPKF Memorial here in Colombo, paying his respects, Neha.
All right, Geeta, I'm going to thank you for the moment. Joining in, my colleague is Geeta Mohan, who is in Colombo tracking those developments very closely. The Prime Minister in Sri Lanka has been conferred with the highest civilian honor of the country. Right now, pictures are coming in from Colombo, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in fact paying respects to fallen Indian Jawans at the IPKF Memorial in a solemn moment, in a solemn ceremony. Fallen war heroes of the Indian Peacekeeping Force who fought against the LTTE terrorists during 1987-1990 in Sri Lanka. That